I still wish someone would drive by, or that someone would come looking for me. I'm a mess. So I've wrote stuff on my back window. Help, out of gas and lost.
Deep within the Arizona country, Amber VanHecke found herself stranded. No petrol, no phone service, and depleting food resources. This is a true story of how Amber VanHecke fought and survived 5 days alone. This is lesser known history. On the 10th of March 2017, a 24-year-old college student named Amber VanHecke set out on what should have been the trip of a lifetime. Amber planned to drive 3,000 miles from her home in Denton, Texas, traveling through the southwestern United States. The drive had been going as expected, journeying through New Mexico and into Arizona, planning to stay there and explore the southern rim of the Grand Canyon. Amber planned on visiting Havasu Falls, an area well known for its pristine pools and waterfalls. However, it is not easy to access. The trailhead is located within a very desolate and remote area of the Grand Canyon, easy to miss for an inexperienced person. On the morning of Sunday, 12th of March, Amber left for Havasu Falls, marking day 1 of her survival story. The distinct sting of gasoline bites Amber's nose as she was filling up her Ford Edge for the journey ahead. Being low on money and comfortable with her navigation skills, Amber pumps in only 1/3 of the gas tank. Following her GPS system, she travels down Route 64 and then takes a turn off onto Willaha Country Road. By this time the sun was beginning to set, and Amber was starting to get worried that she wouldn't reach the trailhead by nightfall. It had been a long time since she had seen another vehicle, beginning to notice that her phone signal was slowly dropping out the further she went. Amber continued along the road for another hour and a half before reaching a fence. It was at this moment that Amber realized that she had been driving along, not a road, but a dirt track. The evening sky began to show as quickly as the sun dropped, fading headlights illuminating the vast empty space that surrounded her. Calling out for help was no use. Reception wasn't holding and time was running out. Desperate, Amber continues following the dirt track, hoping to find any sign of humanity. Just before her Ford ran out of petrol, she managed to park beside a man-made structure, and was hoping that someone would visit in the morning. Settling in for the night in the back of her Ford Edge, Amber doesn't realize that she has driven into one of Arizona's largest cattle ranches. It is not uncommon for people to get lost and swiftly recovered, but as luck would have it, the cowboy who patrols this area of the ranch was away on break, isolating Amber for hundreds of miles all around. Crawling out the back of her car, awakening to the summer heat, Amber looks around her. Nothing for miles that seemed to impossibly stretch on forever. During the morning, unaware of his daughter's situation, Stephen VanHecke tried calling. There was no answer. In the early hours of the day, out in the distance, Amber saw a helicopter passing by. Amber left her car and waved frantically, screaming for help. However, the occupants of the helicopter didn't see her and continued on. Frustrated and distressed, she went back to her makeshift shelter in her Ford Edge. Despite her dire situation, Amber utilized her extensive knowledge in outdoor survival, being a former Girl Scout and Junior ROTC. Using the skills that she had learnt, Amber spelt out the word help, using large rocks in the hope that any passing aircraft would see it. Luckily for Amber, she had plenty of food and water in her vehicle, having originally planned to be on the road for a long time. She began to ration out the food and water, hoping to stretch the amount of time she could survive stranded. During the extensive downtime, Amber started filming herself, talking to family about what she was going through at the time.
Sleep, and read. Try to pretend it's a normal rest stop. Trinity, I love you too. You're my best friend as well. I love all my friends. The rest of my family too. I'm really scared. Please help me. Been out here for 63 hours now. I'll drive east since I was driving west when I first started this nonsense. Just tried to chase down a truck, but they didn't see me in their rear view. I'm okay.
"63 hours had passed. During this time, Amber had plenty of time to think about the best course of action. She decided that staying put and waiting was the best plan, as she was sure help was on the way. Back home in Texas, her father Stephen began a hunt after not hearing from her for well over 24 hours, posting for help in a Facebook private group. He explained that her last known location was west of Albuquerque, New Mexico. This was 650 kilometers from where she was trapped. The hunt for Amber began, but in the wrong state. On her fourth day in the Arizona desert, Amber spotted a miracle. A truck was traveling down the road near her vehicle. Thinking this would be a savior, she ran towards the truck, waving and screaming for help. Unfortunately, the truck didn't see her and continued away from her. Following this heartbreaking encounter, Amber's mental state declined rapidly. She had spent over 100 hours stranded at this point, and was beginning to think that this was the end for her. The rest of the day was spent waiting in the car, escaping the blistering heat outside.
You know, in movies, they always just show the rescue. They don't really show the panic parts in between. The fear.
On the morning of the fifth day, Amber decided that she would have to save herself. No one was going to find her out in the middle of nowhere. Food and water rations were depleting quickly, and the effects of exposure and heat stroke were starting to set in. Packing her remaining supplies, Amber set out on a lengthy hike, aiming for Flagstaff Mountain, knowing that there was a cell tower on top, which may give her cell service. After hours of strenuous hiking, Amber found a phone signal, though not consistent. 911 was dialed over 70 times before a call connected. Amber explained to the operator that she was somewhere between Havasu Falls Trailhead and the highway that connects into the Grand Canyon's South Rim Visitors Center. As her last words were acknowledged, the call dropped. Luckily, Amber provided just enough information so that the Arizona's Department of Public Safety could send out a helicopter to look for her. From the air, the helicopter pilots managed to capture a glare from the roof of Amber's car. Approaching the vehicle, they saw the help sign Amber had made, confirming it was her. At her location, rescuers found a note instructing that she had hiked east along the road to find cell phone service. Immediately, they flew east in the helicopter, scanning the ground for any sign of the lost woman. Meanwhile, Amber was praying that the operator managed to get down the details she had provided, knowing she wouldn't last much longer in the elements. Miraculously, Amber heard the whirring of the rescue helicopter and looked up to see the small speck in the sky. Waving and jumping with hysteria, she at long last captured the attention of the rescuers. Amber was airlifted to a hospital in nearby Flagstaff, Arizona, after 119 hours lost in the middle of America's biggest desert. She was immediately treated for exposure and dehydration, and thankfully made a full recovery. Amber's story reminds us that we can never be too careful when dealing with Mother Nature, and no matter how prepared we think we are, mistakes do happen. The Grand Canyon remains one of the world's most visited natural landmarks. However, danger lurks at every corner. Thank you for watching. If you like this content and want to see more, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you.